Hey guys, it's Doc Vinyl again. Today's show is theme-oriented. If you can forget what I'm opening up with, we'll give you a clue. Some of you may recognize this.
Welcome my friends to the show that never ends. So glad you could attend. I'm inside,
now,
come inside.
Gives you a quick idea what's going to be going on here.
Move along, move along.
Okay. Gotta turn that down. Okay, now, if you haven't guessed it already, our show today is the top 20 live albums in rock and roll. Okay, this is going to be very controversial, of course, but open up with, of course, one of them that's going to be featured predominantly. Welcome back, my friends. The Show Never Ends, which is a 3-set mega, my favorite band, Emerson Palmer. Yes, my show. What the hell? But yes, we're going to be doing a whole bunch of bands, top 20. Out of the 20, we'll talk about the criteria in a minute. But before we start, I wanted to start with a shout out to Max J Records for John. John, just anybody listening in the area that does some ordering, please jump on the record store day. Tomorrow is the last time you can put in special requests for record store days. If you have any requests, definitely shoot down there because there's some cool RSD stuff coming out in April. I will be doing a special show on that too when we get closer to record store day. So that'll be cool. So let's get back to this. Let's get right into this because this is 20 albums. This is going to be a run. It's going to be quick. Okay, criteria. Some albums are left out, and I know some big albums like Song Remains the Same. The reason for it is that's not really, it's a live album, but it's a mishmash of different things. Live at Leeds is the same thing. I did predominantly single shows, or better yet, very, very, very popular, high gross sales live albums. Okay, and these are really the classics. Now, there are also some of my favorites in my thing. Most of these are from my collection. A couple of them came from Max J. He gave me the covers, so just a kind of a mishmash. Now, you may disagree, so I hope to see a lot of posts on this one because I'm sure everyone has their favorite live album. Maybe their favorite band wasn't covered. I don't know. Some bands just aren't covered. For instance, the Beatles, there's no good live album of them. There's mishmashes of stuff here. There's no actually live show. I know they have that rooftop show thing going on. Maybe that'll come out on vinyl, but it's not out yet. Led Zeppelin, again, another band that wasn't recorded prolifically live. The Doors, mishmash of different things here and there, but no real show. A lot of these are just like, for instance, Deep Purple Made in Japan, which is on the list. I don't want to give them away, but some of them are just specifically tied to a specific show that's just amazing. It's kind of like a capsule in time. And that's how I kind of did this. So I hope you go. But before we start, the biggest capsule in time we have to start with, of course, is the soundtrack, or I should say the live performance of Woodstock. 3-set album. Not much to be said about this. This is the only album in this that is a compilation of different bands. Obviously, all the others will be single bands. I mean, this has got so much on it. Let me put the glasses on just to go through it. It's got Canned Heat, Richie Havens, Arlo Guthrie, Sha-Na-Na, oh my God, Joan Baez, Crosby, Stills, Nash, The Who, Joe Cocker, Santana, 10 Years After, Jefferson Airplane, Sly and Family Stone, Butterfield Blues, Jimi Hendrix, all kinds of stuff. So this has been released in a couple of different incantations, but this one right here is the classic 3-set album. This is the original release too. I believe this was on Cotillion. Yeah, this is the original Cotillion, which is kind of cool. This has been redone as other out tracks, what have you, but this is the original from the original soundtrack and more. This is the original. It has been re-released on 180, so this is the only compilation. So the top 20. These are in alphabetical order. They're in no particular order. Which ones I love better than not. I didn't want to do that. Not with live albums. This, like I said, capsules in time. But these are the best. These are the top 20. So this is number 20. These are the next 19. Excuse me. So let's start with the first one. Cheap Trick, live at Budokan. This is a classic. And generally speaking, most of these, we're going to be playing some of the big hits of the band. Obviously, that's one of the big things. This has, of course, the two big songs that everyone says. Surrender, of course. Mom is all right. Dad is all right. And, of course, it says, I want you to want me. Now, the live at Budokan is really cool. Very, very cool concert. It's a fold-out on this. All kinds of stuff. I don't have time to go through all of them. The video will be, 40 minutes long. But live at Budokan, Cheap Trick, really good. It doesn't have Dream Police on it, I know. It has missing some hits. But really a classic album. A lot of people in the 70s and early 80s had this on live. Okay, the next one is just a power pack album, Chicago Live at Carnegie Hall. This thing is a monster. 4 albums with a booklet, of course. 4 live albums. This is exactly Chicago 1, 2, and 3 live. Now, if you know anything about Chicago's early Terry Kath days, Chicago 1, 2, and 3 are all double albums. So that's 6 albums. So basically, this is 1, 2, 3. How many albums? This is 4 albums, I think. Side 1, side 8. Side 1 to 8. Now they don't do every single song from all 3 of those albums, or I should say all 6 of them, but they do quite a bit. And this is just amazing. The recording is insanely good. It's at Carnegie Hall, of course. Starts off with introduction, and in the country, fancy colors. Anybody know what time it is? Different versions with freeform guitar. Oh my God! This is just an amazing, amazing box set. This is the Live at Carnegie Hall, as you can see right there. All 4. This is Chicago 1, 2, 3, and of course, this is considered Chicago 4. This is really one of the most classic of the live performances of Chicago. It's just that amazing. This is when Chicago was at its height. So, Live at Carnegie Hall. Big box set, too. Next one. Can't go wrong with this one, and everyone knows it. 4-Way Street, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young dual album. This is basically everything from the Deja Vu album. This is with Young. This has all the big hits on it. Has even some Neil Young songs on it. This is a pretty good version. This is, I believe, the Atlantic version, as you can see here. I mean, the songs on this, I mean, I don't even have to start. I mean, oh my God, there's just so many. Right Between the Eyes. I mean, that's side 2. I mean, it's just... A lot of these I didn't have to bother. I mean, Ohio is on this. I mean, you got Teach Your Children. Everything is on this. This is really almost like a greatest hits. If you don't have Deja Vu and you have this, it's great. This has been re-released on 180 and many different incarnations. It's a pretty decent recording. It's a classic recording. It's probably one of the most iconic recordings of the early 70s of Crosby, Stills, and Nash & Young. Gotta have it. Deja Vu. I mean, I'm sorry, 4-Way Street. 4-Way Street. Sorry, 4-Way Street. Deja Vu was the studio album, which I also have. Next album. Classic of hard rock. Gotta have it. Probably one of the best hard rock recordings live of all time. Deep Purple, made in Japan. This was the tour of the Machine Head album. So I, of course, have the original Purple UK first pressing. This thing's insane. Obviously, even has the UK sticker and price. £3.25. This has Smoke on the Water. This has Lazy. This has, of course, one of my favorite songs, Space Truckin'. And it's got Strange Kind of Woman. All the great big hits from Machine Head and In Rock and Fireball are all on here. Really good stuff. They don't really play anything. They don't play Hush. They don't play any of the stuff from the first Mark I band. But this is probably one of the best, is by far the best Deep Purple live album. And matter of fact, I believe this album inspired the song My Woman from Tokyo when they did the Japan tour, which of course was the next song, Who Do We Think We Are, which is the album that came out after Machine Head. Amazing album, great stuff, classic live collection. Okay, now we're getting my big band. This is the only band that's represented twice because it is my favorite band, so I'm not going to give any apologies for them. They are 2 amazing live albums. First of all, this album, and this of course is the master recording I have. This is Pictures at an Exhibition. This is Emerson Palmer's technically 2nd album, but this was live. This is completely recorded live. This was just amazing recording. It's a Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition composition, which of course was written classically, adapted for 3 guys in a rock and roll band. This was so cool in 1971. Of course, this was the height of prog rock. This is still considered one of the best live album recordings of it. Very well done. This has been this is available on video too. This has been redone a couple times. Very good. I have one of the best recordings. This is the MoFi original master recording, as you can see right here. Pictures at Exhibition, not much to be seen. It's one of those albums you have to put on, drop the needle, and listen to the whole album. It's not one of those where you listen to songs. It's not a track song. This is a whole album. And it did pretty well for Emerson, Lake and Palmer, actually. Really put them on the map. Of course, their 2nd album was Tarkus. That's their 2nd studio album. But this was their first. I have other live albums of ELP, but these 2 are probably the most iconic. This, by far, this one charting on its own. This album is interesting because this is how they originally released it, is live. This was considered a live performance, always live. They never really, I don't think there's really a studio recording of this. If there is, it's not very good. Okay. Moving on to another Emerson, Lake and Palmer album, which I, of course, open with. And, of course, welcome back, my friends. This show never ends. This is the Brain Salad Surgery Tour. This has everything on it. If you don't have an ELP and you want to get some ELP, this is well recorded. This is great. It has an amazing version of Hoedown. It's insanely fast. Keith Emerson, the greatest keyboard player to ever play rock? Obviously. Here he is. Takis is on this, Aqua Takis. The only thing that's not on this is Pictures at Exhibition, which makes sense because it's already a live version. So, Jerusalem, welcome back, my friend, to Show Never Ends, which is Carnival 9, first, second, and third impressions, which you were listening to at the beginning of the show. Amazing album. It's a 3-set album, too. It's 3 albums, so a lot of material. So if you're into prog. Now, getting away from prog, let's get into one of the greatest live albums of all times. First one to ever be from Satellite. This is the dual album, Elvis Live on Satellite. Pretty cool stuff. This is a very cool album from Elvis. This has all the cool Elvis songs on it. It's got Hound Dog, Blowed Sage Shoes, I'm So Lonely, Johnny Be Good. Opens up with 2001 Zach Sprockets. Kind of cool, makes it very kind of dramatic. Burning Love, what have you. Now, I don't know what year this was, but I believe this is one of the first broadcast concerts via satellite. And let's see if we can get a year on this. 1972. Okay, so as you can see, this is Elvis Around the World. And if you don't have a lot of Elvis, the recording is amazing. This was just a very, very big concert. And this is a very famous live album from Elvis. It's getting to be rare and expensive, but I believe they'll reissue it on 180 gram. Moving along, Frampton Comes Alive if you lived in the 70s. I know my sister had this album. Frampton Comes Alive. This is probably one of the most iconic live albums of the 70s. I mean, this has the big songs, Baby I Want You, and Baby, you know, this has all the big songs on. This is Bob Mayo, Stanley Sheldon, Peter Frampton. This was his band. And this is the AM reading. Show Me the Way. It's a Plain Shame. Limbs of My Fire, Do You Feel Like We Do? Of course, those are the big hits from the Peter Frampton period before he, Baby, I Love Your Way, Baby, I Love Your Way, All I Want Is to Be With You, By Your Side, and then, of course, The Other Side, Shine On, and Jumpin' Jack Flash, which was a pretty good version. This album was really very, very iconic. Frampton Comes Alive, which I believe was released in 1977. I'm pretty sure it is. Let's see if I was right on that one. I think it was California. It was recorded in 75, or it says 75, but I think I'm pretty sure it's 1976. Sorry, it was released in 76 from the 75 concert. All right, so that's Frampton Comes Alive. Moving along to the next album, Genesis Seconds Out. I could have used 3 Sides Live, but I thought I'd go with the classic Genesis era better. This is, I prefer 3 Sides Live. Also, the 4th side isn't live. This whole album's live. This represents most of the old Peter Gabriel material and also includes stuff from Trick of the Tail and Wind and Wuthering. This also has great drummers. This has Chester Thompson and Bill Bruford on it. So it is a really cool, if you're into Genesis or into Bill Bruford or anything, this is an album to go get. Very, very cool, well recorded, just an amazing concert, some great performance material. Some of the Genesis at its height with Steve Hackett. So this is Steve Hackett, Mike Rutherford, Tony Banks, and Phil Collins with, you know, different drummers, Chester Thompson and Bill Bruford. Just an amazing stuff. If you like early Genesis, way to go, pretty good. Moving on to Billy Joel. Now, Billy Joel didn't have a lot of live albums, but he had this one in 1989 when the wall came down. This is Co-Help. This is really, really good. This is live in Russia. This is really good because it includes a lot of cool Billy Joel songs. It's really kind of like a compilation of greatest hits and just really, really good stuff. So I really can't highly recommend it enough. Unfortunately, it's kind of difficult to get and going up in price. Hopefully, they'll reissue this soon. This is the original embossed one, so this one's worth like $50, $60. It's worth a lot of money, but a great album. But you can get it on CD. You can get it on, which I had it on CD. It's just a great album. He had Billy Joel doing Back in the USSR version. Really cool stuff. Great stuff. Great album. Moving along, Kansas 2 for the show. If you're into Kansas, which, as you can see, I am, this is a great Kansas album. This has all the great stuff from Left Overture and Point of No Return, which are the 2 biggest albums. Now, it has some stuff from Mask and also has some stuff from the early stuff, but this is really, really good. Live versions of Dust in the Wind and Carry On Wayward Son and Point of No Return. Very, very cool album. If you're into Kansas, this is a great album. Very well recorded of a single content. Good stuff. Kansas 2 for the show. Moving along. I have to include these guys, even though I'm not a big fan of the band, but this is Kiss Alive. This was probably one of the biggest albums in the 70s. Every kid had this. This is the whole Kiss Army, Kiss this, Kiss that, everything Kiss you wanted. This has, what, Deuce, Strutter, Go to Choose, Hotter Than Hell, Firehouse, Nothing to Lose, Rock Bottom, Cold Gin, Rock and Roll All Night, Rock and Roll All Night. Not bad songs, catchy, I guess. Just a great Kiss album. This was like when Kiss was at its height. And this is Kiss Alive. And this album's gone up in the value too, but they've also reissued it. This is a very, very good album. If you're into Kiss. Not my thing. Kiss was really not my thing. Moving along, 1969, you got to have this one. This is the MC5 Kick. This one, of course, is just classic Electra, Kick Out the Jams. This is a live album, amazing early rock. This, of course, influenced punk rock movement later on. This is the original Electra Yellow label. It's worth some bucks, but I had to have it. This is MC5 Kick Out the Jams live. Really raw, gritty, awesome 4-on-the-floor rock and roll, cool stuff. Just really cool. And this is a very iconic live performance. So the MC5 album, kind of have to have it in there. Moving on, Rolling Stones had a couple. They had Love You Live and what have you, but I went with Get Your Ya-Ya's Out, the Rolling Stones in concert, and this one's pretty good. This has all the classic Stones hits on it: Jumpin' Jack Flash, Midnight Rambler, Sympathy for the Devil, Honky Tonk Woman, Street Fighting Man. Just a really good, very well recorded album. Some of the other live Rolling Stones albums aren't that well recorded, but this one is really good and definitely worth seeking out. Moving on, Bob Seger, Live Bullet. Man, this was one of the classic live albums. All of the early Bob Seger stuff is on this. Turn the Page, Against the Wind. Just an amazing live album. This is the repress, 180. Well worth the $30. This is an amazing 2-set album. A great live album. I cannot stress. This was such a big live selling album. Live Bullet in the late 70s. Everyone had a copy of this. Moving on to some early stuff, an album that not as well known, but Steppenwolf Live. This has, of course, the 2 big hits, Magic Copyright and Born to Be Wild, but also other great Steppenwolf songs on it. It's also very well recorded for the time period. This is an ABC recording on the Rainbow label. Cool stuff. Very good album, I have to admit. I kind of like the Steppenwolf Live. Good stuff. Moving on to more obscure bands with a very great live, Traffic on the Road. This is all the early stuff, predominantly Glad, Freedom Rider, and Light Up and Leave Me Alone. This is just a really cool album. I love Steve Winwood, as you know, and I'm going to be doing a whole show on this Winwood. I've already done Traffic. I didn't cover this album, but Traffic on the Road. This is a great live album, and it has a really great version of Low Spark of High Heel Boys is on here. Just really cool, and Jim Capaldi work. Amazing album. Great stuff. Now going on to another one. There's not a lot of Pink Floyd live albums, but the Roger Waters Wall album is really one of the better ones, and this is that one right here, Roger Waters Live. This is the whole Wall live. This is the 1990 performance after the wall came down. This is an iconic live performance. Really cool. Even if you're not into Roger Waters, this is a great one if you like Pink Floyd. So it's really kind of a crossover album where if you like Pink Floyd and you're into David Gilmour but you don't like Roger Waters, but this is a good one because it is the Wall. It is pretty good. Definitely worth seeking out. This has been re-released on clear vinyl and on black vinyl. Amazing stuff. Moving on to one of the last ones. I couldn't do it without Wings Across America. What can I say? Probably one of the best live albums of Paul McCartney's time period. This is all the Wings. This is all the big Wings hit. This has, Venus and Mars, Rock and Roll Jet, Spirit, Medicine Jar, Maybe I'm Amazed, Call Me Back, Lady Madonna, Long Winding Road, Live and Let Die. Oh my God, just a lot of silly little love songs, Let 'Em In, Beware and Love. This is just really an iconic concert, very well recorded. And of course, it's Paul McCartney. And of course, he slips in a couple of Beatles songs in here too, of course, because it is Paul McCartney. So Wings Across America, pretty good. Really good live album. All right, so that does it for the top 20. Like I said, I didn't want to rank these albums. They're kind of all very unique performances. They're very difficult to rank live albums. But I'd like to hear what your live albums are. Hope subscriptions. Please subscribe. I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. And again, this is one of the thematic-based shows that I thought I would use. And this is the top 20 live albums in rock and roll. Now, I had other albums that were live, like jazz and different, but obviously I don't want to get, that gets crazy. That's a whole other, maybe for another show. So, yeah. So I hope you guys liked it, and hope to hear from you guys soon, and stay safe. Doc Vinyl out.